welcome to day 18, part 3. Wanted to start today with a bit of a reflection on history before we get to today's topic. So we can go back thousands of years and we can see that people spent a lot of time trying to find things like the fountain of youth, the philosopher's stone. Okay, there's all these things that deal with alchemy in order for people to live longer, healthier lives. And do you know what all of that stuff brought people thousands of years ago, hundreds of years ago? People literally spending their entire lives, including Isaac Newton, who tried to create the philosopher's stone, including men like Emperor Rudolph II, who met with men like John Dee and Edward Kelly in order to figure out, hey, what's the secret? What's the secret? You know what they got them, guys? It got them a bunch of nonsense. Nonsense. We have this thing today called science, and it turns out that the fountain of youth is right here, guys. It's right here. It's what we've been building. Now, the sooner that you grasp that, and the sooner that you recognize the shift that humanity has had in its logic and reason, what used to be important back then, what people were willing to spend their time doing in order to investigate how do we live longer, healthier, more productive lives. And then the gift that we have today of science and how we're abusing it. I mean, Isaac Newton would have literally cut off his left arm to have 1/2 hour with your iPhone today. I am not kidding. I can say that wholeheartedly, knowing what I know about Isaac Newton. So as I kind of go through these videos, I want you to appreciate that everything that's being said here has to do with science. It has to do with your immune system. It has to do with living a longer, healthier life. And today I'm going to go into vitamin A, vitamin D3, and a little bit more about anemia. And I'm going to put a whole bunch of links to research in the newsletter. And remember, I can only put videos up top. There will be no videos. But if you subscribe to my newsletter, you will see links to things that I'm talking about here today. Let me just revisit vitamin D3 and share some interesting things that we're seeing about vitamin D3 that I came across. Number one is vitamin D3 is 100% related to inflammatory-based anemia. Why does that matter? Well, remember, when we went back a couple of videos ago, we talked about how important hemoglobin is in predicting the severity of these cases. So we see, number one, high ALT levels, which is your liver, which we'll get to in a minute. So your liver health matters, hemoglobin matters, and then the other thing, people were having aches and pains, again, which is just ubiquitous to any illness. Now, some of you may be saying, I thought you said in a previous video that type 2 diabetes was a big thing. Well, guys, look at the correlation between type 2 diabetes and the health of your liver. Look at the correlation between type 2 diabetes and the health of your liver, meaning fatty liver disease and high ALT levels. You will start to go, oh, that makes sense. In other words, all these things are interrelated. Now, what do we know about vitamin D3? Well, we know that during the winter months, especially, people are deficient in vitamin D3. It is incredibly important as an anti-inflammatory. And when we go back to our discussion about iron and hemoglobin and how many people are anemic, well, how many people are anemic? Well, I'm going to share a link in my newsletter. There's evidence that about 20% of women and 3% of men are anemic. When we look at severe cases, the severity of the cases starts to go up the older you get. So if you're an older woman and if you're a pregnant woman, and then interesting, if you're a black woman, it's even higher. So blacks in general have are more likely to be anemic, especially if you're a black female and if you're older. Now, what does that have to do with vitamin D3? Go back for 1 second. Who has the most difficulty absorbing vitamin D3? The darker your skin, the older you are, the worse your digestive system. Guys, what did we talk about all of this time about how important digestion is, organs are? Vitamin D and vitamin A are both fat-soluble vitamins. They are broken down in your stomach and especially your small intestine. We talked about the duodenum and the jejunum. The state of your gut really matters in how well you absorb it, but also the state of your liver. So people with fatty liver disease, people that have issues producing quality bile, which goes into the gallbladder, which helps emulsify those fats. All of these things create issues in absorption of both vitamin D3 and vitamin A. Why are they important? Once again, they're both anti-inflammatories. You guys have been hearing all this buzzword, cytokine storm, cytokine storm. Well, again, I'm going to put links to research that talks about the role of vitamin A and vitamin D3 in modulating these cytokine storms. Okay, they are modulators of cytokines. So, meaning that they are anti-inflammatories. Again, vitamin D3 has a whole bunch of roles. It releases calcium into the bloodstream. It helps regulate serotonin. It does a whole bunch of things. But one of the things it does help to influence cytokines, meaning inflammation. And furthermore, both vitamin A and vitamin D help keep other possible mechanisms of having inflammatory-based anemia. So other than the fact that anemia can come from just iron deficiency and poor iron absorption, why poor iron absorption? Once again, stomach acid is low. So when we look at all of the reasons for anemia to be a problem, why is it when you get older? Because your stomach acid gets less acidic and you have less of it. You really, really need quality stomach acid in order for you to absorb iron. But check this out. And here's something that we didn't go into last time. You know what else happens as you get older and you have these stomach issues? Listen up. People are popping all of these damn antacids. Mylanta, Rolaids, Tums. What are all those based on? What are their bases? Calcium. What did we say blocks iron in the last video? Go ahead, say it. Calcium. Calcium blocks iron. So watch this storm, okay? Watch this malabsorption storm that we create. Okay, so by the way, first of all, who's dying of this disease? People that get old, people that are older. So people that are older have less stomach acid. They have really poor stomach acid, meaning it's not acidic enough. So they mistakenly don't get healthy and support their digestion correctly. They're already not absorbing iron well because of the poor stomach acid and whatever the heck they have going on in their liver and bile and pancreatic enzyme production. Separate story there. But let's just start with being old and how poor your stomach acid is. Then they go, oh, I get all this acid reflux. You're getting acid reflux because your stomach acid sucks. That's why you're getting it. It's not because you have too much acid. There's a sphincter on the top of right above the stomach, okay? And some of you may have heard of Barrett syndrome, right? When you ignore that chronic splashing up into the esophagus, okay, you're going to start to cause problems that you don't want in that area, and it becomes different severities of what's called Barrett's. Now, what do people do? They start dropping Tums. Now you have a double whammy in your iron absorption. You're old, right, because of the poor stomach acid, and you're dropping Tums and Rolaids or whatever because you think that this is the way to fix your stomach. Now you're just not absorbing any iron. Now you're magnifying the problem. And now what will happen to the quality of your hemoglobin? Again, why does this all matter? Iron is at the heart, literally, of hemoglobin. What are we seeing is the issue with people who are suffering the worst cases. Again, just science, guys, just science. High ALT levels, meaning fatty liver, type 2 diabetes. We could just say both of those things. And guess what? Hemoglobin. Again, this is a respiratory thing. Hemoglobin delivers oxygen. Now, guys, again, just talking science here. All right, is it starting to make sense why these things matter? I hope so. So when we revisit the importance of digestion and organs and all these things and what these vitamins do, and when you hear things like cytokine storm, ask yourself, am I supplementing with vitamin D3? How much? If I were you, I take 5,000 IUs every day with vitamin K2, which I already went into. I take beta carotene instead of vitamin A, which I would recommend for most of you, because if you have fatty liver disease, you're already going to have problems. And you have issues with your stomach, and you have issues in your duodenum, and you have issues with Crohn's disease, celiac disease, all these things with your gut. You're going to have a lot of issues digesting all of these fat-soluble vitamins, vitamins A, D, E, K1, and K2. So 5,000 IUs is what I take with vitamin K2. The best way to know if you're deficient in vitamin D is to get blood work. And if you see a number that's less than 40, you need more. You don't want the number to be over 100, but the sweet spot is between approximately 40 and 60. Now, vitamin A, you also run a risk of toxicity. You run a risk of toxicity, so you can just supplement with beta carotene. Beta carotene converts to retinol. Some people have genetic polymorphisms that make it harder, but the bottom line is you can take a lot of beta carotene. I take 25,000 IUs every day. Now, it's a good idea to get your carotenoids from many different sources. That's a different topic for a different day. So, again, just to reflect, all these things we're talking about here, vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, K1, K2, those fat-soluble vitamins, specifically today, vitamin A and vitamin D, can certainly play a role in inflammatory-based anemia. It certainly plays a role in what we're hearing about cytokines, meaning that we need to keep inflammation at bay. Anemia in general, how common it is in women and as we get older, and in especially Black women, we see that the prevalence of this goes up dramatically. A lot of this has to do with the darker your skin color, the less vitamin D you're absorbing from the sunlight. The older you get, the less vitamin D you're absorbing from sunlight, because skin itself, the older it gets, the efficiency of the body to convert it gets worse and worse and worse and worse. If you're taking it as a supplement, again, if your stomach acid sucks, it's harder and harder to absorb. You get the idea. So guys, hopefully this all makes sense. Quality organs, quality digestion, proper supplementation, and understanding these links to solid iron absorption, it all matters. What does it really come down to? Being healthy. Again, it's not about the Philosopher's Stone, baby. It's not about the fountain of youth. This is the fountain of youth. This is it. Okay? So let's go. Let's go. Let's do it. All right? Let's stop the nonsense, put away the alcohol, and start fixing what we know we can fix. All right, everybody. Have a great day.